Hello, everyone. Welcome to Module 6. Now, this module is mostly designed as a little space for catching your breath and doing some reflective thinking. You do have quite a bit of information in our lessons about the two different style guides, but much of that is just purely informational. At no point are you going to be quizzed during this class so that we're sure that you can memorize requirements from the APA handbook. In fact, the citation wizards provided in the exercises for this lesson are excellent guides to show you what is needed in building citations. So I expect that I will not have much to say about the final versions of those in your papers. Now, it would be nice if you did have all the information provided in the lessons on APA and MLA at your fingertips. But at the end of the day, it's just not necessary. That's what references are for. If you can find the information quickly, that's nearly as good. And at the end of the day, it does the same job. And that's probably the best lesson to take away from your work here with that. The truth is that we teach APA and MLA because they're good representatives of the different philosophies behind the various style guides, not because they are the only style guides that you will ever see. If you go on to graduate school one day, what you will find is that virtually every discipline has its own style guide with its own idiosyncrasies and requirements. So, for instance, if you study sociology, even though it deals with many of the same concerns as psychology, the American Sociological Association actually has its own style guide, which is slightly different. If you're engaged in a directly medical field or a medical adjacent field, the AMA has its own style guide, and this carries through for just about every discipline. In academic publishing, the same variety of requirements for style also carry through. You'll see a journal say that it publishes in an MLA style or an APA style. But what you need to note is the "and" that they're using instead of the exclusive article, "the." This means that it will sort of look like those at a glance, but that the editors have made their own distinct changes that they think make sense. And it's up to any contributing author to look those up and make the style and citations conform to what they actually want. So what I said a minute ago is true. It's just better to know how to get the answers needed than it is to know the answers about the style out of hand. That is the skill we're aiming to cultivate, along with an awareness for the kinds of things that come up in those variations. Now, the major exercise for this week is another discussion. This one asks you to take the first step in revision now that you have completed a full formal draft of your work. That step requires you to look back at what you've written and try to apply fresh eyes to it. To do this, you need to divorce yourself from everything that's gone on prior to this and really think about the disparate parts of your essay. So, for instance, when you start at the intro, stop. Remind yourself what any introduction should do. Then try to genuinely assess whether the intro you see in your draft is accomplishing that. Do this at every step of your work for every possible element. One central thing to keep in mind is your main argument. This must remain an obvious thread through your entire paper. Often, novice writers will state their thesis and consider the work of promoting it done. However, your reader must never lose sight of what exactly all the proof that you're talking about actually is aiming to do. All right? So my advice is do not be afraid of seeming repetitive in this. Academic writing is really about teaching your reader a lesson, and repetition is a key element in teaching anything. Your academic audience will recognize this. So when they see you repeating your lesson, their reaction won't be, "Why am I hearing this again?" It'll be, "Oh, I heard this before. It must be important." All right? So you, as the writer, need to lean into that and make that happen. All right? So if you have any questions this week, feel free and let me know. I will be working throughout the week to get you exact feedback on your drafts. The way I do that is I usually use the marking tools that are in Turnitin, and I'll provide you, I'll give you a copy of that directly as part of your feedback with all of my notes on the draft itself. All right. So you'll see what you'll see in the feedback boxes for the rubric for the draft will be a lot of things that say, look at my notes on the on the draft rather than repeating them there. Okay. So again, if you need me, if you have questions about anything, you certainly by now, I am really hoping, should know how to get a hold of me. Please do so, and we'll talk again next week. All right. Adios, everyone.